Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Daffy's Roundtable. Today, I'm joined by the CEO and founder of the Apollo Reptiles Co-op, Nathaniel Gibson. Join us as we talk about why the co-op exists, how it started in the first place, how they transitioned from a rescue to a co-op, and why they're setting the ethical standards for breeders, and so much more. We also dive into Nathaniel's collection, how he keeps chondros, carpets, blood pythons, and a whole list of other animals, tortoises too. He's currently in the middle of moving his reptile room. We talk about that. He's currently in the middle of building a giant tortoise pen. We talk about that. There's a lot of really good information in this episode, so please make sure you stick around to the end. Plus, at the end, we have a special guest joining us for the last portion of the episode, so you gotta stick around to find out who that is. Before we get into the episode, allow me to thank Exoterra for sponsoring this podcast and making this episode possible. Exoterra makes quality products for our pets' reptiles to make them feel at home. Also, for those of you watching the episode on YouTube, please subscribe, leave us a comment. For those of you watching or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of the other streaming platforms, please give us a follow. It really helps out the podcast and I really appreciate it. And if you want to help out the podcast a little bit more, if you want to support the podcast a little more, the Patreon is now live. You can find the link in the description. Go check it out. Also, there is an Apollo Reptiles Co-op Patreon where you get a lot of different perks and a lot of cool discounts if you join it. We'll talk about it later on in the episode, but you can find the link to that in the description as well. Anyway, without further ado, everybody please help me welcome the man, the CEO, the founder of Apollo's Reptile Co-op, Nathaniel. Nathaniel, hello!
What up, buddy?
How you doing, man?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for coming on. I'm very excited to do this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Have some fun. Of course. It's gonna be a good time. So before we get into all of the crazy talk of you switching up your entire reptile room, you're building some cool enclosures. Of course, Apollo Reptiles Co-op. We got to learn all about that. But before all of that, who is Nathaniel? Tell us how you got started in the reptile hobby. And yeah, give us the Nathaniel story.
Oh man, that's a deep one.
Good. We like cool stories.
So my dad was the one that kind of got me in interest of. We always had like a betta fish. We always had something. But I remember when I was a kid, and you've met my chameleon named Sally G. He had a chameleon that would free roam our basement. He converted the entire top of our basement to like a jungle top, and he would let it walk around all day. Heat spots everywhere like that. And it was this big veiled chameleon named Sally G. And that was like the start of my interest in this stuff. And then obviously growing up, going through, I was in fish. I loved fish more than anything like that. I had 3 or 4 betta fish tanks throughout my entire childhood. I got a job at Pet Value when I was 13 just so I could get more betta fish. From there, kind of morphed into always watching people like Brian Barczyk and stuff like that. And it kind of went into, okay, let's get the first snake. And then I got my snake named Patsu. And that's kind of history. And we can all blame Alex from Big Al's for this entire mess that he's caused.
Alex is where you got your first reptile from?
Alex is where I got my first reptile from, yeah.
It's so cool. It's so cool how everyone is kind of tied into each other at the end of it. But also before we that story is really cool. So your dad had a free roaming chameleon with like a canopy top in one of the rooms.
Literally.
And like just hanging basking lights everywhere. And how did he maintain humidity in there? Was like a humidifier running?
It was, so we have to remember this is early 2000s.
Yes.
It's a little bit more
before the knowledge was out there.
Free roam, like a 50-year-old guy just doing this in his basement. So it wasn't perfect. I'll completely admit that.
So cool. Man.
But he did. I'm sure. I can't remember. I was too young to be honest with you that specific detail. But I'm sure he had something. My dad was a chemist, so he was
cool.
very. I'm sure he had something to account for that.
Right. Yeah. So then the next big question is, when are you doing? Because you keep a bunch of chameleons. When are you doing something like this?
Oh man, I think we could in the new room. Honestly, maybe that's the time. But it's hard to pick. I think if I was going to do it, I'd want to do it with a Parsons chameleon, something big that you wouldn't lose.
Big, yeah. Did you ever lose that chameleon? Did you like go into the room and be like, where is he?
No, but I think like everybody, we have the stories of the like red belly newts and the hermit crabs that got out and stuff like that. Sadly,
Yeah,
just like every kid growing up with parents that didn't have the same kind of knowledge or the internet connected to, you know what I mean? Like
for sure.
I grew up on a farm, so it's like we
Okay.
didn't have that kind of access to internet.
Yeah. And do you think that growing up on a farm had anything to do with like inspiring love for animals?
For sure, I've loved animals
Sorry.
since I was a kid. Like there's no animal that I walk up to and I'd be nervous around it. Like I grew up with cows and horses, and there was always a dog on there. Obviously, you've met Maple before, but I've always had a
Yes.
dog, and so I think like it's just natural progression into now doing this thing where we're trying to promote animal care. I had a pet baby deer, and I can send you a photo of it. We named it Magic Deer. It came out of the forest, went
Please
on the
do.
farm, and like we were able to pet it and stuff like that. So it's like we've always, my family as a total, my sister as well, has always had that kind of connection to animals, and it's just evolved into different things, into different avenues.
Very cool, man. Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so you got your first reptile from Alex. Shout out to Alex. And then, which by the way, for everyone listening, if you don't know who Alex is, there is an episode with Alex. I think we talked about Fiji iguanas and
Right.
indigo snakes. It's linked in the description. Go check it out. Alex is a dope dude. But anyway, so you got your first reptile from Alex. What happened? When was the snowball? What happened after that? Because I think we all know you get one reptile and
Uh,
then it just goes downhill from there.
uh, I think I wanted a black ball python. That was
Okay.
like I liked the Mojave mix with the black, and so I went and got a snake. I named her Eclipse, and she's red axanthic, a gene called red ringer, blackhead, whatever. Um, and then I was like,
Do you want a male?
no, no, I'm
I
good.
have, I have a male blackhead I'm trying to sell. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
And you know, when you start looking at the ball python morphs, you get kind of entranced by them, and then you see stuff like the Axanthics, MJ Axanthic, and then I went and spent $5,000 on a lightning pied and and all this stuff, and then we arrive. You start to see uh different forms of it, so different python species and stuff like that, and you get interested in that. But then at some point, before Apollo is what it is now, it was a rescue. And so that's where the tortoises came from. That's where I had 92 crested geckos dropped off of my house. So we had to figure out what the hell to do with those. We still have, you've seen them, 10 or 11 of those guys left. We have a yellow anaconda because of that as well. Like, it snowballed because I wanted to help in a way. And I, was just trying to figure out the best way to do it. And so we just expanded and expanded. Luckily, I have a big enough house where we were able to do so. But yeah, it was through this I've met so many cool people and so many cool stories and worked with so many amazing people from all walks of life. That's why I've stayed in it. To be honest with you, like it's the conversations like this that matter to me the most.
Yeah, I love that. You get in for the reptiles and you stay for the people, right?
Yeah,
There's so many cool people in this industry for sure.
yeah.
That's
Like
awesome.
I'm lucky enough where I can work to build connections where like Alex's son calls me Uncle Nathaniel now, and it's like that's why I'm here still. I want to inspire the next generation and work together with everybody, you, Ray, and everybody else in the co-op to continue to do so.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. And okay, so you were a rescue, and when you say rescue, like you were bringing all these animals in, rehabbing them, and eventually readopting them out.
I was giving them away.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
And
just for
so
better
like
homes.
I would take them to the vet, pay for all their vet bills, get them back healed, and then rehome. Like that was I'll do a small shout out to Millennium City Vet. They helped me out so many times with cost and everything like that because at a certain point it got a little crazy there.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
So
actually what I was gonna ask you. So why transition out of a rescue to more of a, I don't know what you would call it right now, like, CEO and founder of the co-op. Because the co-op
um
obviously is not a rescue, right? It's a
yeah,
different operation. So why the
yeah.
transition?
I think when I sat down, I looked at it, obviously there's two avenues. There's a financial burden, which always exists.
For sure.
And I sat down and I used my mom as my backboard for all my questions. And I said, okay, how do we? Yeah, so I bounce ideas off my mom all the time. Every company, she ran a successful company, so she's my backboard when it comes to that. And I said, okay, how do we kind of turn this from money out, a significant amount of money out, into something that could sustain into the future, be able to change the issues that we see, and continue to grow. And so we sat down, and I also sat down with Alex. I sat down with my assistant Adam, and we sat there and we the four of us kind of planned out, okay, this is what this will look like. And what I arrived at is, you can rescue animals all day and all night. That won't change.
Correct.
The reality is that the only thing that we need to influence, and nobody is the way people go about caring for these animals. And through that, we developed the co-op and the collective, because these are an organization of people who do nothing but give a shit about their animals. Sorry for the language.
You're good.
And all of them have to pass an inspection to be a part of the co-op and sell at our tables, sell on our websites. And so when you have people as passionate as that, it ends up leading to a point where the customers are as passionate about it as them. We verify, like we do our best when we're talking at expos to the people who are buying our animals to hey, you have the enclosure, right? You have this, right? We get partnerships like with PVC cages, so people, if they don't, they can buy the cages right then and there, and we know that animal's taken care of. If you want to change something, you need to change it from all aspects. And just being somewhere where you could dump animals to is not a solution. It is a solution, but it's not a permanent solution to the problem that exists.
So what you're saying is, instead of having all of these animals to rescue, you're trying to attack this problem from the top of, like, maybe let's reduce the amount of animals that need to be rescued by providing knowledge, by providing reliable animals, by providing just support to the people coming into the hobby, because, you know, odds are it's likely somebody that came in, bought one crested gecko, decided the reptile hobby wasn't for them, and is putting it, whereas I guess that's, so like you're trying to reduce the amount of animals that end up in rescue situations.
Exactly. And by that, we also want to look at our breeders, and we want to say, why are we producing so much stock? Every other industry has limitations, right? We only want to pull so many diamonds out of the ground, so that price of that diamond doesn't go down, right? That's how every single other industry works. The thing about the reptile industry is, because it's, I'll say, easy to do, people overproduce. People overproduct. So we have breeders that are going bankrupt because they have so many mouths to feed, and there's not a customer base to actually sell to. And when you do sell it, you sell it for $60. And so when you sell an animal for $60, you think it's going to get $1,000 worth of care? No shot. It is important that quality is focused on versus quantity, in my opinion. I would rather have 100 small breeders focusing on an individual animal, and we promote those breeders and say these are good standards, these are good people, than one mega breeder that's breeding 1,000 ball python clutches a year. There's no need for it. There's ball pythons out there. The market's already fluctuated. We're in a recession right now. Nobody's buying that many animals. And I think this is the issue with the industry, if I'm being blatant and honest. People stay in their bubble. They see their bubble. They're like, okay, we're going to produce this many clutches this year, and they forget about the world around them. People don't have money to spend right now. People are stressed. The last thing they're going to spend on is luxury goods, and this is nothing but luxury.
Yeah.
And so why do we keep producing to the amount when people were good? You know what I mean? Like when people have money in their pockets and stuff like that, when it doesn't exist right now. Like these numbers need to change per year, and that's a conversation as a collective we're able to have. And yeah, it's gonna maybe cut into margins, it's gonna cut into profits depending on the person. But the reality is something's got to give here. We're trading in life, not in stock, and people forget about that.
I like the way you framed that. I think definitely a lot of people are going to be upset because, like you said, it cuts into people's, like to some people, this is their business. This is their full-time gig. This is, producing X amount of this species per year is how they pay their bills. But you're right. I like the way you phrased it when you said, in every other industry, there are caps to how much can be produced. There are caps to how much resources can be pulled. There are all of these things. And there's not really any standards or lines that we have in place in the reptile industry that stops somebody from producing 10,000 ball pythons or crested geckos or whatever when the market isn't able to sustain that right now. And you're right, because I've watched the prices of so many animals just completely plummet because of this. Yeah.
Well, and it's, you're not going to make money if you're selling a ball python at $50 a pop. It's just, you're not going to. I know how much rats are. It's not going to happen. And so why do we still produce to that extent?
Yeah, it becomes a losing operation.
Yeah, like you're shooting yourself in the foot almost. It's the same logic that can be applied to why are we still producing normals? Why are we still producing pastels? Why are we still producing all these base morphs that exist? They're easy to get and they're cheap.
Yeah.
So why do we continue to make them?
Yeah, fascinating. Okay, so I was going to leave the Apollo conversation for later in the episode, but we kind of already... No, you're all good. We've already jumped into it, so let's keep going. So now, how does the co-op counteract this problem, if that makes sense?
It's not a perfect system. We've been operating for 4 months, hardcore force, right? So we're still growing business. We're still growing and we're developing. But it really solves it by conversation. We have a monthly town hall. I generally lead those meetings, but they're open to all of the breeders. There's multiple tier levels in the co-op. Our breeder level is what is our main discussion based at this moment. There is levels for the keepers and stuff like that, but we'll go into that later.
So yeah, I was gonna say, sorry, but let's pause that for a second. Maybe, do you want to explain that first, or do you want to keep going with the answer?
We'll just talk about it. We'll just talk about it later. I'll just talk about the breeder too for now.
All right, cool. Go
ahead. So those breeders, we get that monthly meeting, and I raise a question. I say, here's what's going on in the world. Here's what's happening at this moment. Here's what we're trying to push towards. What is your opinion on this? And then it's an open floor. And through that, we make legislation, we make conversation, and we move forward. No one's voice is more important than the other. It doesn't matter that I'm the CEO of the company. A breeder that has just entered the co-op is just as important as I am. And so through that, we're able to make decisions, and we're able to stand by those decisions as a collective because it's what that collective decided. Now, we do have enforcement in some cases when it comes to our booth and stuff like that. There are rules and regulations. But for the most part, it is just a conversation. That's the whole point of a collective, is that everybody has a voice and is able to talk.
And so you're maybe inspiring people to... I don't know if inspiring is the right word. Like, you're trying to put the conversation out there that maybe we need to focus our energies on this other than this, or... Yeah. Does that make sense? Is that...
Yeah,
okay.
No, absolutely. Like, it's whatever... Everybody sees an issue, right? You see an issue with a certain part of the industry, you want to have a conversation about it. You can come up into a town hall and be like, I'm seeing this issue, what should we do about it? And we can actually fully discuss that issue. It doesn't matter what it is. And having 25, 30 people being able to bounce that off of is significantly more productive than having one other person. You're not talking in a vacuum anymore. You're talking to people that have different worldviews, different perspectives, different upbringings, so they see the world in a different way. And that's the really cool thing about it, is that it kind of becomes this debate is the wrong word for it, but a more conversation, when then we don't stop that conversation until it's solved.
Yeah.
And then through that, we're able to push legislation through that everybody agrees with. But it comes with work. Everything comes with work, right? So it's like,
And money.
and money. And that's the thing. Like right now, I'm of the very privileged position where I'm able to sustain that. The goal is to not to have me sustain it for the rest of the time, but it's the conversations are a lot more productive than going back to it like rescuing animals just flatly, because we're actually making movement in a way, as opposed to just being like a dump and run.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then in terms of the people joining the co-op, what are the advantages for the you know what I mean? Like, we have the advantage of now you're part of the conversation, you're hopefully part of the solution that's coming to the reptile industry. But what are the individual personalized advantage to somebody joining the co-op?
Right. So because we are a collective, we're also able to approach things just as a store would. So we're able to get wholesale costs on things. So crickets, bugs, feeders were the first things that we brought in. Now we're branching into wholesale goods, bedding, tanks. We work with PVC cages. We can, because we can buy as a collective, we can pass those discounts down to everybody in it. And I'm not so concerned in the business model about making profits off of that product directly. So for me, I'm like, okay, yeah, here you go. Just take this at cost. I have no need to make money there. Because that's why there's a membership, right? Just as Costco does that and everything like that, that is the exact same platform.
I like it, the Costco model. I like the way you phrase that. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. So you join the collective, you join the co-op, you get advantages. You mentioned earlier the 3 different tiers. Maybe do you want to break down those 3 tiers and what the advantages of each tier is at? And while you do that, I'm going to grab, I can still hear you, but I'm going to grab the tissue box that's all the way over there because I think I'm getting sick. Okay, go.
So the first tier is a $10 tier a month. It's the community tier. You want to be an influence in the industry. You want to have conversations just like we're talking about now. You join the community tier. You're a part of the monthly town halls. Your voice can be heard. Then the step up from the community tier is the keeper tier. If you have an animal, multiple animals, that's where you can take advantages of discounts. That kind of wholesale purchasing. It's a little bit more in depth. I need a little bit more communication from that individual, hence why it's a little bit more expensive. And plus, we're passing on savings to you. I guarantee you will save more than $20 a month if you utilize it in its full capacity. Then there's the breeder tier. This is a little bit more higher up on that food chain, I'll say. Obviously, you're a part of that, but it's a no, I'm losing them. That's the one I don't have to sell.
It's fair. You're a breeder. You're actually breeding animals.
Yeah.
You want to take advantage of like wholesale lists or
exactly. Yeah, and you want to be a part of this is an organization for the people who have a question, want to shoot it directly to other breeders, have that communication directly in a safe environment that they're not going to be judged, questioned, or gone at in any way, shape, or form. The co-op as itself is about learning and growing. You can start in a keeper tier and eventually move up to the breeder. We picked that. You're handpicked for that decision, because you have to pass an inspection, and 2, you have to just meet certain standards. That's the reality. And just because you're not ready for the breeder tier, we offer the keeper tier for the fact that you can still get those discounts and stuff like that, and eventually work your way up. And then besides that, there's just kind of like me and Adam hanging out here. That's the top. That's the top.
Shout out Adam.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should bring Adam on here once. I think he'll be fun to have on the pod as well.
He's a real cool kid. Really cool kid. He keeps my brain in check, which is a tall feat to get.
Yeah. And then you also are helping them, like, for example, myself. I love breeding animals. I love the process of hatching something and seeing the baby and raising the baby, but then I don't want to do any work after that. I don't want to sell the animals. I don't want to communicate with, like, I will do it for certain things. But sometimes I just want to be like, here, Nathaniel, sell my animals. That is an option as well.
Yeah, so we do have our own wholesale list. It's not at full force at the moment. We're just getting that developed. I'm been a little bit head all over the place with the renos and life. But that is something that we are going to be implementing this week. We have already prior relationships with a lot of stores. So our goal this year actually is that you'll be able to walk into a store and see an Apollo sticker on the tanks that our animals are in, and you know that that came from us, and that has passed our certification, so you're getting quality there as well. And plus, like, the stores have to pass kind of a certification with us. We're not just selling to anybody. We want our animals to be in a good environment, regardless of each step that they take, whether it's in our care, going to somebody else's care, and then finally to their final home. Each one of those steps are important to us, and we don't want to lose quality across that board. So that's also what we're figuring out, the best way to distribute in that way.
Very, very cool, man. And for those of you listening, stick around because in a little bit, Nathaniel just mentioned Renault, so I want to jump over it because I'm sure his reptile room's completely changed since I've last seen it. But stick around because you will be doing a bit of a giveaway later on in the episode. Is that right?
Yes, we will.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so before that, I like to make people wait. They hate it, but I love making people wait. Before that,
Got build
tell me about the
anticipation.
Renaults. Exactly, you get it. You get it. So I came, and you had basically an empty room, and you said this was going to be the main reptile room, and everything else was in other rooms. I've seen on your stories and on some of the posts you made that you've started this process. How is that going? What's the game plan? Tell me a little bit about that.
Good. It's been I've never built a room. Like growing up, it's been an interesting process, one, dealing with the city of Toronto at the same time, building this room, like all the permitting and stuff like that is just too much to talk about. But it's for a very specific thing, right? And that was why it was a little bit more difficult. So we moved the PVC cages in first. That's going to be the easiest, lightest ones, right? And then we kind of work out all the kinks. But when you build a room like that, you have kinks in the actual physical structure itself, not just in like moving a tank in.
Wait, so you built that room?
That room did not exist before.
Oh, very cool. Okay, I did not know that.
So we dropped the floor. There's a little like storage unit, but it was 5'5" and I'm 6'3", so I'm smacking my head off the girders and stuff like that.
Right.
So we dropped that floor down. We reinforced it. Technically, we could put a 1,500-gallon fish tank up there, and it would be solid, which is a feat. But anyways, doesn't matter. So we customized all the electrical. As you saw, there's plugs in the ceiling. There's plugs on the walls. It's everywhere. And then this week was our test. We moved stuff in, and then a cold snap came. And so that was the real test of this room.
And it's withheld, no problem?
Withheld, it got a little cold. We have some heaters in there but there was some, like, things you don't even think about, little cracks in the walls. Like just underneath the floorboards and stuff like that. So then we have to pull all the tanks out and silicone around the whole room and seal that back in.
Wow.
But it's just like things I've never experienced before, right? So it was a cool thing. Got done. Put back in, and then today I'm on my mission. Today is going to be moving the tortoises from their old tank into the new one. As you know, I like to build tanks for certain animals, and this was I'm never building a tortoise tank again. You couldn't pay me enough.
Okay, hold on. We'll talk about the tortoise tank in a second. I just want to comment on the build. So you're actually, what you're doing is kind of like, I think many reptile keepers dream. Like, I would love to scrap this entire house, start again from the bare bones, put the electrical where I want them, put, the vents where I want them, like, do all of these things. How much planning went into the room before you, like, did you know where specific enclosures were going to go to place a plug there? Or, like, how much planning did you actually have to do beforehand?
Yeah, so there was quite a bit of steps. Obviously, you have to meet with structural engineers. You have to meet with just your general contractors, electricians. One of my big things is that I wanted the entire room to be able to be, if the power went out, run onto a backup. So that was kind of the most annoying part, was like having to figure out, when I'm in the middle of Toronto, I can't just run a gas generator like everybody else does. So then we had to, okay, figure out these giant lithium ion backups basically, and run that. So that entire room can now flip over and sustain for 2 days without any power, which was important to me. I think that's something that everyone should always think about when they're building stuff like this, is that you don't want to think about the good times. You want to think about when the stuff sucks. And so you have to think about, okay, where's all of our fail safes? Which, coming from the film industry, helps a little bit, because we always think about like stuff like that. So we built that. We were like, okay, our PVC cages are 4 foot wide. We want to plug at every step, so we gotta have plugs at 4 feet every single integer. So, and then same with the roof. We didn't want cables running along the floors, so they're easy to clean and everything like that. So we're like, okay, we need 4 feet on the roof as well. So the electrician looked at me and said, "You want plugs where?" like what the hell are you talking about? So we did that. It was probably about 5 months of pre-planning. I was renting this house before I bought it, and before the sale had gone through, we were already planning the renos. So the day the sale went through, we started. And then got some delays, inspectors and stuff like that. And now finally, about 4 months behind, if I'm being honest with you, we're getting here.
Yeah, four months behind is not bad. Like
No.
I've heard of projects like being delayed by like a year or two. So 4 months behind is, you did this pretty quick, man.
Yeah, like the key is to annoy the hell of everybody around you. You
No,
calling
come,
those
we're doing this
inspectors-
now.
Yeah, like calling those inspectors every day, calling the city every week, being like, I need this permit. My poor, who's the most amazing contractor I've ever met, he's just like, okay, Nathaniel, yeah, we're doing it, we're getting there, and stuff like that. He's checking on me and everything like that. So like, it was, when you find people who are passionate about what they do, it always leads to success. No matter what industry you're in, no matter what you're doing. And this
Facts.
room was really a collective of people who actually gave a crap, and I appreciate them immensely for that.
That's very cool. And final question about the room, and then we can jump back to the tortoises. Did you have to register it as, like, because obviously you live there as well.
Yeah.
Did you have to like state that there will be a business, like, to the city you're getting permits to build, but they don't care why you're building it? Like, they're not saying, oh, this is becoming a business, so you need different permits. This is no longer considered a residence. Does that, yeah.
The room isn't a business at all. That's my personal collection. You know what I mean? It's a storage room. You know what I mean? Like, that's really the reality of it. It's just a storage room, and we happen to have animals in it.
Very cool. Okay. So tell me about this tortoise. First of all, it's massive, right? Like, tell me about this tortoise build.
So we have 11 redfoot tortoises at Apollo.
Crazy.
Those things are like my little dogs. Like, I have Maple, but like, these things are, I love them. So they have a winter pen. I have a big balcony. They get a 12 by, was it 5 or 6? 12 by 6 in the summer, with a big pool and stuff like that. And so I've made 5 renditions of this freaking tank, all to better success. And hence why I'm saying I'll never build another one unless someone pays me a lot of money for it. But this is 10 by 4.5, and this is their winterized tank. So basically, they're only supposed to be in there for 4 to 5 months of the year. And so we're going to get a big pool in there. We're going to make sure we're building false hills and everything like that, so they can still keep up those leg workouts and everything like that they get in the summer. But the way we're doing that is that we're like cutting PVC pipes and covering those with dirt, and then that will act as a false mound. And then we're just figuring it out. But it's all made out of like UV greenhouse paneling. sealed with spray foam and silicone. And then it has a big wooden frame because we're actually setting glass tanks and stuff like that on top of it. So it needs to be really sturdy.
And you're building one for all 11?
Yeah. Our babies had a grow out tank, and now they're finally reaching size to go in with the adults. And so we can have them out. So you open those doors and you're just going to be flooded by tortoises.
That's kind of cool, actually, yeah. And then you said in summer they have an outdoor pen? Is that what you meant?
Yeah, they have a big outdoor pen that we go and we fully furnish like a jungle. There's some photos of it on our Instagram. That was our first year. We're still figuring everything out. So we have some new plans this year. Actually, ZoomEd. Was it ZoomEd? I hope it's ZoomEd. Came out with a really cool sulcata tortoise hut for outdoors.
Yes, yeah.
And so what happens is that it can hold 2 sulcata tortoises or 11 redfoots. So we're going to get that. And that will be the better version this year because we actually took a PVC cage, laid it out flat as the hot hide last year, and it was miserable. It fell apart by the end of the year because it's just not designed for braving weather and stuff like that. It was also a very old used tank in the first place. And so it's cool that they're starting to make things for crazy guys like me that want to keep tortoises outside in Canada.
Yeah, do you have access to your roof?
Yep.
Can you put stuff on your roof?
We can do anything. Whether we're supposed to is a completely different conversation. I don't have an HOA or anything like that, but I have neighbors, and they already look at me weird.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so I try to appease as much as possible.
Yeah, my neighbors think I'm crazy too. 100% they think I'm crazy. I can be seen from in my backyard from both sides, like the house to my left and the house to my right. And the amount of times I've just had like a carpet python out in summer in the backyard and just looked up and seen like 4 family just like all at the window staring at me like, what is this guy doing?
Oh yeah, my neighbors, we all have balconies outside of our like master bedrooms, and they come and drink coffee and they watch the redfoot tortoises eat during the summer and stuff like that. It's awesome. Yeah.
That's kind of cool though. Like, why would they complain about that? You're getting a free zoo. Yeah, you get it. Yeah, that's awesome. I think the roof idea is something you should explore. I think a giant turtle pen on the roof or tortoise pen on the roof.
That'd be crazy, especially if I got all the houses to agree to, because I live in a townhouse, right? So if I got everybody to agree with it, and then we got the whole roof as a tortoise enclosure, that's like 100 yards. They're not using it
anyway.
Yeah.
They're not using it anyway.
We'll figure it out.
I can't do it because the roof is like triangular. There's no like flat area. But if there was, I would be putting some enclosures on there all summer.
Yeah, fair. I'm trying to convince them to put solar panels up. That's my goal, so I can run that reptile room completely off grid.
Fair. That's another probably a more useful idea than having tortoises up there. But
we can still have tortoises up there. Doesn't hurt.
You can still have tortoises up there. Yeah,
exactly.
There you
go. Look at all the bad ideas you're giving me.
Yeah. If you want bad ideas, come to me, bro. I can come up with the stupidest stuff all the time that is not feasible, but like sounds really cool in theory.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are you building this? So you kind of already talked about you're using the greenhouse panels or whatever. Kind of give us a rundown of the enclosure itself from the outside.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like just like what is the materials I used or?
Yeah, materials you're using. Size. Did you mention how big it is? I don't know if you mentioned how big.
Yeah, so it's 10 by 4.5.
Yeah.
And again, it's just temporary. I don't think that's necessarily like if you were gonna have 11 redfoot tortoises, you should have them in there for their entire lifespan, but for 4 or 5 months out of the year it'll be more than enough. So we UV PVC paneling, that's for like greenhouses, frame the entire thing 2x4, stuff like that. The goal when you're building a tank like that is to never have any of the actual wood touching the animals, which is something you guys have to keep in mind, is that obviously pine board and stuff like that is not great for them. But if you use it as a frame and you airtight the rest of the tank, you are okay in that sense. So if I'll send you a picture later, but It's basically all encapsulated. It's no different than a regular PVC tank. It just has a wood frame around it for support because we're going to put heavy tanks on top. That's the only difference.
And you can't see into it unless you open it up.
Oh, you can. Yeah, it's all
you can.
see through UV. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah,
and
so
this
that's
is
the difference
done?
as well. It's done. I put the doors on this morning. I was actually inside of the old tortoise tank when you texted me today, taking the UV lights.
Okay. Yeah. You were in the old one.
I was in the old one, which does not smell good. Tortoises are like horses. They smell like a barnyard.
Yeah, I would love to keep them, but I would need to live somewhere warm where I can keep them outside year round, and where I can plant their food in the enclosure. My biggest problem is the vegetables, as I don't need enough vegetables to have animals that eat vegetables.
Yeah, like it's. I have a couple stores here that will keep because we throw away food at an insane rate.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
after a day or two, it comes off the shelf, and I get a call.
Oh, yeah.
So I
Okay,
get my
that's cool.
pick of the litter beforehand. So, we have cool community partners like that as well that just kind of give us a hand where they're like, we're gonna throw this out anyways. It's a write off regardless. Here, take some lettuce, take some cucumber and stuff like that, and have it for your animals.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And then other than the tortoises, I mean, you're also working with a whole variety of really cool species. But I want to ask you, you've bred ball pythons
Yep.
and you've bred blood pythons.
Yeah.
How similar is the process?
Pretty similar. So I like to complicate my life more than most people do. So I temperature and light cycle my animals before I breed. So
Even the ball pythons?
Even the ball python. So every enclosure of mine, well, not right now, but usually does have light of some sort in it. There's no dark animals, so they have a proper day-night cycle. And we continue to drop that into the winter. So we start at the 12-hour day, work our way to 8, and then eventually get down to, I think we end up at 6 or 4 for the day.
And you go the other way around.
And then we cycle up. So we start pairing just the traditional stuff, like in a snowstorm. If anyone's breeding, this is like perfect time when this weather cyclone comes through. But yeah, so we pair up. We get to that 6 hour a day, and as we raise that light again, we start pairing. And we do that coincide 3 days on, 4 days off.
As in, you put the snakes together, you pair them for 3 days, and then you separate them for 4, and then you'll pair them for 3.
Exactly.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But my number one thing is I never want to overbreed an animal, so we also ultrasound our animals.
Alternate?
You
ultrasound them.
We ultrasound, measure follicle growth, keep track of that, so we're not overbreeding our females whatsoever, causing them unnecessary stress. So we are starting to establish, not every animal has it out there of this is the follicle size when you no longer need to pair. Ball pythons obviously do. That's the easiest one to get. So we based all of our knowledge off of a ball python, and we learn where a blood now sits. You know what I mean? Like we know at 25 mils I no longer need to pair up a ball python, but with a blood python, okay, maybe it's 30 to 35 mils. Those eggs are bigger, they're bigger clutch. And so we monitor that through. We actually write those things down so we have that knowledge as well. And we can actually tell you about it and let people know about it. So this year, hopefully my goal is to get the same kind of readings on green trees and carpets. It's our first year breeding those guys.
Nice.
Which once this room is done, I can actually start cycling them, which would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I do have experience in breeding. We've done it. I did it for 2 or 3 years before I started the co-op, and I'm now kind of taking a little bit of a step back, just focusing on projects that I want to do versus ones that I feel like I have to do. So it's just green trees and just carpets this year for me. And
You're not pairing bloods?
Not pairing bloods. Again, we talk about market demand, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep producing something that doesn't sell out within the first few months. You know what I mean? There's no need for it. And I would much rather keep the industry selling than overproduce and for no reason. You know what I mean? If I'm sitting here with 5 animals in my rack system, it's just financially burdening. It's not helping anybody.
It's not helping, for sure.
Yeah.
And okay, so you say do you cool the whole room? Like even animals that you're not planning to breed, everything just gets cooled at once?
So depending on the animal, so we've sectioned that room where we're actually putting the system in this week where there's a greenhouse system that we can have windows automatically open and close depending on the temperature that we set them to. So that is the system it's a common in greenhouse work. We're just applying it to our work here. Some of our animals, like the green trees and the carpet pythons, they are on switching temperatures. So we'll cool the room to a certain degree. All of the animals that don't need it still have their hot basking spots, gets up to that 90 Fahrenheit. But then like green trees, we want to drop down to like 68 Fahrenheit, right? So we'll put them a little closer to the windows. We'll have that switch on. We have fans that click on in their tanks themselves, and then we're able to cool them down to the temperature that they need.
Very cool. And are you watching a certain, you said like you're waiting for this room to be done so you can start cooling them, for example. Are you waiting for a specific time of year, or is it just I'm going to cool them for X amount of months and then I can start breeding? Like, are you watching the actual cycles, or are you just doing it whenever you feel like?
Well, so technically I would have started about 2 months ago. In an ideal world. We're late to the season now. It just is what it is sometimes, you know what I mean? So the reality of any of these situations is we do not work in the naturals. It's not we're not outside in the snow.
Sure.
Or so we can mimic those cycles whenever we kind of need to. So we'll get this done, this whole room hopefully capped off in the next week or two. Once that's done, then we can start turning our attention to the actual breeding cycles. But yeah, we're just focusing carpets, green trees, and that's it this year.
Two of my favorite snakes. You're going down the right path. Although I do love the bloods too. The bloods are a cool thing. It's a shame. It's a shame that the market they're not selling.
Yeah, that for me might be an every other year kind of thing. Like I have some projects that I'm growing that I would love to see come to fruition, not for anybody's personal gain, but my own. I would love to keep the nicest of that clutch. You know what I mean? And
in terms of like a morph or a line you're working on. Yeah,
like one of my dream bloods is it's gonna sound simple now because there's so many cool ones out there, but like a 007 T positive would be one of my favorite renditions of blood, and so I would love to have everything for that pairing. I would love to actually execute it at one point.
Is that a thing that's already out there?
Yeah.
Can you tell me it again? 007?
007 T positive.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a picture on Google. Is this what you're talking about?
I'm sure there's some for sale. I want some like magpies and stuff like that too. There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
Is this it?
Yeah. The red spots.
The red spots. That is a very pretty blood python for sure.
So instead of the black spots, you get the red spots, and the face. Blood pythons kind of have this like black snout with a white stripe on the side, and you end up getting a red snout with a white stripe on the side, and I like it.
Interesting. Interesting. Do you think more people should be keeping blood pythons? Oh, and do you think they have a very bad reputation of being like very nippy, very bitey snakes? Do you think that's true? Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Swifttail Exotic Vet Services. If you're in Ontario, specifically in Ontario, and you keep reptiles, amphibians, inverts, small mammals, honestly anything exotic, this is a game changer. By the way, I know this is a reptile podcast, which is why I only mentioned the above animals, but for those of you who do need it, they do also see dogs and cats. Swifttail offers exotic vet telemedicine, which means you can meet with a qualified exotic vet right from your home, no stress for you, and more importantly, way less stress for your animal. And if your pet needs medication, they can ship it straight to your door. One of my favorite things about Swifttail is that they're privately owned and operated, so you're not dealing with a giant corporate chain. They treat their clients like family, and they genuinely care about the animals we keep. They also offer urgent care, which is huge when something goes wrong and you can't wait weeks for an appointment or you can't reach your local vet. Speaking of appointments, if you've ever struggled to book with your local vet, or you don't have an exotic vet anywhere near you, this is your solution. Just hop online and book an appointment with Swifttail. And if you mention this podcast, Daffy's Roundtable, during your first appointment, you'll get 15% off. So make sure you go check them out, support an amazing small business, and get your animals the care they deserve.
Just like every generation of animal, when ball pythons came into the country, they were just as nippy. People called them blood pythons because of their reputation of being bitey, and also they're red. But now we're in like generation 7, generation 8. It just doesn't exist the same issues anymore. Like my big female who's 45 pounds is literally a puppy dog. So temperament wise, they're starting to get less nervous. They're a big snake. They're a slow moving snake. And if you move slowly with them and you understand that, you're going to have no issues with them. Now that I'm in the new room, I have very bitey blood, but I also have very bitey ball pythons that I'm looking forward to working with, because it's just a very slow development. Just as I work with monitors that take time and adjustments, this is not an overnight thing. It's a months and months and months of work. So as long as you take that into account, understand that our babies that we're producing right now, we can handle. There's no biting, there's no anything like that. But like I say to everybody, you're buying a baby snake. It's going to get nervous at some point and it's going to strike at you. It doesn't matter what animal it is. It doesn't matter if it's a ball python. It doesn't matter if it's a blood python, a carpet, reticulated python, anything. It doesn't matter.
Anything in the mouth can bite, for sure.
Exactly. And that's its only defense. You know what I mean? It's either going to poop on you or it's going to bite you. That's just the reality of it.
And I'll take the bite over the poop any day.
Oh, yeah. Musk is awful. I have a reticulated python it's his go-to. He just loves pooping everywhere. It's like so much.
Yeah. And then and in terms of like good pets, should people be keeping them? Should maybe some of the people that are considering going to ball pythons consider bloods instead?
I think if it's your second snake and your first snake's a ball python, you could definitely take a jump to bloods. And the only reason why I say that is that bites do happen and your risk versus reward is significantly higher. Like a blood python bite is going to be worse than a ball python bite. And they're destined to happen. And so I would much rather someone have a ball python first or a rosy boa first, like anything first, and have that less risk and then learn how to deal with that and then jump to a bigger snake. Whatever time you're dealing with a bigger animal, there's always significantly more risk to yourself from that animal. And so take things at steps. It's a medium is what I would call it. Like if a ball python and a rosy boa are a beginner, you're entering medium, but you're not quite at advanced there yet.
Okay. And then you brought up, I want to ask you about the carpets as well, but you brought up rosy boas. Let's talk about them for a second. First of all, are they as, like sand boas are like pet sandboxes? Are rosy boas the same thing?
I love rosy boas. They are don't tell any of my other snakes. They are my favorite snake.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah.
Which is so funny because it's like I have a 10-foot reticulated python, but I love my 3-foot girl. You know what I mean? Like that's just the reality of it. They are what I consider an amazing first pet because they need a 40-gallon breeder. That's giving them a lot of space. So not taking up a lot of space in your house. They're low key. They move around a lot. I have 6 or 7 of them, and they're always moving about. They'll tunnel. They'll come out. They'll crawl around their tank.
So you see active.
You see them a lot. Like I just picked up a new girl that Alex actually brought in for me, and she's been an absolute blast to have because you walk upstairs and they're out doing their thing, and yeah, they're not as underground as sand boas are at all. They're calm. They're a little nippy when they're babies, but again, we had the conversation. So is everything. All of my adults are super calm. They could care less about what's going on around them, and you're feeding an adult a weaned at the biggest size. So the cost versus keep is significantly down comparative to others.
Why do you think we don't see them enough in the industry?
They have a small clutch. I think if I remember correctly, like their clutch size is 6 to 8, which I know doesn't sound small, but they're a small animal, and then you have to remember that there's always going to be some form of die off or something like that when you're producing an animal.
For sure.
I just don't think they're quite. They're big in the States. Like truly, there's some breeders in the States that are pumping them out, and there's already like all white versions and different morphs and stuff like that. They've gone off of the localities and they're creating these different really cool morphs. It's interesting because I think they are more popular than we give them credit for. Whenever I see them pop up on in the industry here, they're gone within the day or two. It's just establishing locale colonies is hard. Like I've had to import the melanistic locality from the States. They don't exist here. I think maybe one or two people have them, but if they do, it's either they have a male or they have a female. No one has both.
Right.
And so they come in all different shapes and sizes. They're a cool North American species. The real answer to that question is I don't know. I think they're the best snake out there. I push them hard because I think they're even better than a ball python as your first pet. Just for ease of care. They're a desert species, so they don't need as high humidity. They do okay in
And
a
they
glass
tolerate
enclosure.
and they tolerate cooler temperatures too, if I remember correctly.
You actually have to brumate them to if you want to breed and stuff like that. So they're okay with colder temperatures. They're from here, like they're not from here, but they're from North America, so they're used to
Right.
the temperature fluctuations that come. Yeah, I think they're very underrated, and I think they deserve more credit because they are very very cool.
Yeah, I equate them to the boa version of Antaresia. Like they kind of remind me of children's pythons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're smaller. They make great pets, but they're just not around as much. And I think it does also have to do something with the smaller clutch. Like you get 6, 7, maybe 9 tops with the children's python eggs.
yeah.
But I think the rosy boas as well is the females breed. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember where I heard this, but I think they breed every other year, not yearly.
Yeah, they're not a yearly clutch. With a smaller species, it becomes harder to produce, right? So it's a lot more detrimental to them every time they produce a clutch of or a litter in their case because they live birth.
Yeah.
But the other thing I like about them is that they're like when you go and you get a small snake of any sort, generally you're like worried about it being kind of wiry, like it's very skinny and stuff like that. They do have some heft to them as well. They're like small and hefty.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my preach. Everyone go buy a rosy boa.
Are you pairing them this year? Will Apollo Reptiles have some babies this year?
We'll see. I have like it's again we're at this weird stage where like I have this melanistic pair that I would really love to do. I've always loved them, but I have a baby and I have an adult. It's like
So you have to wait it out.
So we have to wait it out. I do have a mid Baja locality that is ready to go, so maybe that is in the play this year. But again, I gotta get this room done, and then I can actually think about what the hell's going on.
And then you can talk about and think about pairing. Yeah, for sure that makes sense. Yeah, very cool. Okay, we do have a special guest that's about to jump on with us. But while that happens, you said you're pairing your chondros and your carpets. So tell me about the carpets and I guess the chondros as well. Just tell me your pairing plans for this year. If you have specific morphs. Look, what's the aim for this year's breeding plans?
I am obsessed with moonglow carpet pythons. Absolutely obsessed. And so I'm either waiting for you'll notice in all my breeding, I breed for myself and everything else is just what comes. So my goal is to eventually get a moonglow carpet python. I have the albino, I have the axanthic. We're gonna start pairing those together. Then I got to get the granite albino, pair that together, and we'll slowly work our way down to getting to that moonglow. But if I'll be 100% honest with you, if I see it in the States, I'm just gonna import it. It's because I am impatient and I just think like it's. I breed for goals of what I've always wanted to see and keep, and some of the things that I see and keep don't exist in our country. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I also, when you're running a race, you're racing against everybody, right? And if someone beats you to that finish line, sometimes you gotta say, okay, you made it to the finish line. Let me get to the finish line by cheating a little bit, and I'll import something to help me get there. Because then we're the first ones here with it, and I can breed those and distribute them out here.
If anyone in the US has a Moonglow carpet python, hit up Nathaniel.
Yeah.
It's basically an all-white carpet python, right? Like that picture we're looking at right now?
That is my dream right there. That is what I want. If someone would love to just give one to me too, I would really appreciate it.
If we're giving out
crazy,
it's sick. If we're giving out carpet pythons, I'll take one too.
Yeah. Like, come on, that's gorgeous.
That is gorgeous.
What are you guys doing?
That is gorgeous.
We're looking
What's
at
up?
pythons.
What's up? Our special guest is here. Hello, Ray.
Hey, reptiles. What up, girl?
Please introduce yourself to the listeners. Who are you?
I'm Ray from Ray's Reptiles, and I am a zoologist that is pretty much advocating for the reptile world and all the love for the reptiles because they are very misunderstood animals. So I'm out here to teach people to understand about them. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what a cool title being a zoologist is.
Yes.
Okay, and then so Ray, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say not technically yet. Still studying. Studying zoology.
That's
not zoologist yet.
Just rock with it. You're a zoologist. Just rock with it.
Yeah.
And what is your involvement with Apollo Reptiles Co-op?
My number one hater.
So I am pretty much one of the head, I guess, influencers. Or the head influencer. I don't know what Nathaniel would say as my...
You can fight Foddy for that title.
No, it's all yours. You are the head influencer.
But yeah, so I pretty much just help promote the Apollo Co-op. I also have brought in my own tactics of social media to help out Apollo, and Apollo has many reptiles, many sources that can help me out, and we kind of just come and bring our things together and make the viewers happy and get to sell animals, get to teach about animals, and just and we do
it all ethically, right? And that's the goal.
Yes.
Yeah, you kind of just stole the next question out of it, but go ahead. No, what were you going to say?
No, I'm good. I was just I'm enjoying being in the middle of you guys right here now.
I love it. I was going to ask, but yes, ethical, of course, is a big one. But I was going to ask, Ray, why do you think that what the Apollo Reptiles Co-op is doing is so important in terms of, ethical and the standards and all that? I'm putting you on the spot here. By the way, for all of you who don't know, Ray has had zero preparation. I texted her while we were doing this, and I was like, hey, we're on. Do you want to jump on? So she's had zero preparation. She has no idea what I was going to ask her. And anyway, go ahead, Ray.
I thought this would be more conversation as the interview. Okay. Why I, teamed up with Apollo. So, personally, when I started my social media, my main goal was advocating for ethical breeding, advocating for anything ethical regarding animals, not even just reptiles alone, and just help people understand. So, when Nathaniel pitched to me what his ethics and all that stuff is towards the reptile field, and saying we really are pushing ethical, nobody is allowed to join this unless they go through these precautions and all this stuff, and that is what I have been wanting in this reptile world, and I was hoping that the government or some source higher up would start doing this, but now we have Apollo's Reptiles who is starting to do that, and I think that can become bigger and can continue to push, and a lot of people are joining your co-op because of that fact alone, and I think it is great, and I'm full support. I don't know how to answer that question, but
you missed one very important point. And it's because Nathaniel himself is so awesome.
Yes.
Oh my god, what the heck, guys?
Yeah.
See, there you go. I got you.
I'm blushing now.
I love it. Okay, cool. So we'll stop picking on Ray now. Nathaniel, you said you had it's probably a good time to do this. You said you had a giveaway for the listeners. Please hit us. Tell us what they are getting.
if you go to, where are we going to put it? Are we going to put it on
It'll be
your account
in the
or
description.
on this? In the
description
right
of this
now,
episode.
there is a link there to join where the co-op itself for the different tiers is based off of Patreon at the moment. We're going to give everybody away 2 free months. So that's $40 in value. We're just going to hand you. And so go join, check us out. Come raise there. I'm trying to convince Fadi to be there. And
I'm there in spirit.
He's there in spirit. And so come and hang out and be a part of the community. Come be a part of the conversations and be like everybody else. You just get to yell at me, and that's fine. I'm happy with that.
And they get some of the discounts as well and all that kind of stuff.
You get everything we get. So you get to join up and get the wholesale. Now we are trying to expand Canada wide, so be a little bit patient with us. We're 4 months old. We're like a little baby right now. So that's why we're giving away stuff for free as well. Is that I want to make sure we're expectation managing. And so people can understand that we are growing, we are developing. This is a new concept. We are figuring it out day by day. And so I will ask for a little bit of patience in that, but I promise you we are working our ass off to get it going as full speed as possible.
Which is awesome. So you now get 2 months of taking advantage of all the benefits that the co-op has, and then you can decide to stay on, and because you're you're getting more than $40 worth of value in those 2 months just by the perks and all of that. So it's definitely worth at least giving it a shot.
You can join for free and get all the wholesale discounts, everything like that, and still get your more of the value, like you said, than just the $40 as well.
Yeah. Ray, did you have something to add to that?
I have something to add that I totally remembered now. One of the reasons why I actually have teamed up with Nathaniel is because a lot of the people in the reptile world, not even just breeders, like everybody, a lot of them are in it for just the money. And Nathaniel showed me that he is not in it just for the money. Of course, yes, we're in it for the money in some sort of way, but you are so business oriented, and I think a lot of people don't have that background, and I was very I respected you instantly when I found that out, and the way you present yourself, you are very professional and serious about what you're doing, and you still make it fun. And I just find that other people in the reptile world are either too silly and not serious, or they're overly serious, and it can scare you off a little bit. So right. I think meeting you was a huge 2 worlds colliding, and that also is what intrigued me to continue working with you, because you are fun, but you're also very driven and professional, and you get work done, and I don't see that a lot in the reptile world.
Thank you, Ray. I for my personal, not to talk on it too much, but I really practice what I preach. So if you go into my room, everything's in a good sized tank, everything has what it needs. And that matters a lot to me. I'm not just going to go and tell everybody else to do it. I'm going to be the example of it. And that's what we've always practiced and what we're going to continue to practice.
I love that. And that's a very good point, Ray. He is bringing experience from outside of the reptile hobby into the reptile hobby and kind of applying it here. And I'll be completely honest with you. I had the complete opposite reaction to Ray, where I was or not the opposite reaction, but I heard first about the co-op and I was like, what is this? What's the point of this? And then I had a conversation with you, and instantly my mind was changed. And I was like, this is a good idea. This man knows what he's saying. And he's just a dope dude anyway. This has just turned into a talk, Nathaniel. People, you need to meet Nathaniel.
Guys. What the
hell? I love it. But yes, go take advantage of the two free months.
Yes.
Link is in the description. Go check it out. It's at least worth checking it out. Yes, there we go, everyone. Arrows down. Description. In the description. In the description. There we go. Yeah, very, very cool. And you'll get a chance to chat with all the other people in the co-op. You'll get to learn from other breeders. You'll get to put your input in. There's a lot of really cool advantages.
And if you don't like something, tell me, and I can fix it. And that's the biggest thing. That's the whole point of the town halls, is that I literally call it a time to yell at me and tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I can fix it then. So have your voice be heard and be a part of it, because it's a lot of fun.
Very cool.
Always evolving and growing.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then are we going to be seeing Apollo Reptiles at upcoming expos as well?
Yeah, you should. I think the game plan is that we should be at every single one. Now the life happens sometimes, and I may not be physically there, but there's amazing co-op members like Responsible Reptiles who do vend our booths every single time, and we love them more than anything on this planet. So
shout out to Responsible Reptile. For all you listeners, you already know who they are, Eyal and Rebecca. They've been on this podcast like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
They are, there we go, and they have candles. This is actually, I don't know if I can turn this camera, but that's actually one of their dragons that I have a picture
amazing.
of behind me. We love Responsible Reptile here at Daffy's Reptiles and at Apollo Reptiles Co-op.
And so you can find them there. They're always at the booth, and you can come meet with everybody else. I know my big supporter Adam will be there almost as many times as he can. He weirdly loves vending them. Ray will be there as well.
It's fun vending them, man. It is.
Adam gets so excited to vend the expos. It's crazy. I love that kid. So yeah, come hang out. There will be always someone there smiling and having a good time and educating as much as we can. And again, all of the animals there have been ethically bred and made sure that we're up to our standards. So that's something I hold very close to myself.
That's awesome. And so you've mentioned, Adam, you've mentioned Ray, PVC Cages, Responsible Reptile. Are there a couple of other names that you'd like to shout out within the co-op that...
I'm just going to go down the list, all right?
Hit us. Yeah, just so you guys have an idea of the kind of people that are in this list.
2 seconds. I got to get everyone. I can't miss anybody.
One of the influencers is Natasha. I think her account is Red's Reptiles, I think.
Red's Faunaverse.
Red
Faunaverse,
yeah.
Thank you. She changed it.
So we got Adam, Alex, Monarch Reptiles, PVC Cages, our rat distributor Herman, our bug distributor Josh, obviously Eyal and Rebecca from
Responsible
Reptile. We even have the Mystic Cafe, a part of it. Millie and Jackie over there. Obviously everyone knows them. They're the new cafe downtown. Obviously you're a part of it. We have Nathan from Herptonic, we have Ray, we have Natasha, Austin, who also works at the Mystic Cafe, we have Sam and Amanda from Spider-Manda, we have Dragonheart Exotics, we have Atheris 3D, Michael from Jungle Gems, and I think that covers everybody.
For now.
I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. If I did, I apologize. I am doing my best over here.
No, all good. That's awesome, man. Very, very cool. You've built something very cool in a very short amount of time.
Yeah. No, I'm very proud of the organization. I'm very proud of the people in it. I love the energy that I get from everybody. There's not a single person in that doesn't deserve not to be there. They are very passionate about what they do, and I love every single one of them. And so yeah, that's my story. That's my co-op.
I love it. So okay, so Nathan, to wrap it up, Nathaniel, sorry, to wrap it up. I don't know why I said Nathan.
It's okay. I'm just really offended now.
I think I was like, as I was just looking at the screen, I caught half. Anyway, yeah. So Nathaniel,
I'm kidding.
to wrap it all up, 2 points of why you think it's very important that the listeners right now should go take advantage of this free 2 months.
I think
the two biggest points.
What if I make one really long form point?
That works. That works.
We are in a world right now that is ever changing, and our industry needs a change. Not saying that this is the number one answer to that change, but it isn't something there. We have an opportunity with Ray, Fadi, everybody else. We are the next generation of this industry, and we need to do it in the ways that we want to do it. No longer are we just mass importing animals. No longer are we just commercially selling these animals. We need to do this in an ethical way, and still learn how to get everybody to survive through that. And through the co-op, it is the first step forward in becoming that. I'm not saying it is the number one and perfect answer, but we are getting there. So if you want to be the change, if you want to help support the industry as it changes, I suggest, and I would hope that you would join the co-op and become part of this community that we're building, because it is full of an amazing people and full of fun people. And look at the amazing people that are sitting right beside me that you get to talk to and be a part of. So that is my sales pitch. That is my my go-to, and be the change that you want to see in the times that we see it.
Nathaniel for Prime Minister, man, that was great. If you want to be the change,
This is why I work with him, because he knows how to talk.
that was great.
Good, eh? That was off the cuff too.
That was great. I love it. Okay, and then so for the people that want to join, other than going to the description and getting the 2 free months, where can people follow you, Nathaniel? Where can people find you?
Go check us out on Instagram. Follow the people that also work with us too. You know what I mean? Like there's a community here. Go check out Ray. Go check out Foddy. Go check out everybody else that I just mentioned as well. But you can reach out to us directly on our Instagram, on our Facebook, whatever you guys need to get in contact to. There's a way to do it. You get to see my dumb face more often. You get to see Ray's beautiful face more often, and Foddy's beautiful face more often. Yeah, everyone pose up for a second. Let's see it. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
And so yeah, come check us out. Apollo Reptiles on Instagram. That is going to be the easiest way to communicate with us back and forth.
Beautiful. And Ray, you
Yes.
came on as a little surprise guest at the end here. Thank you for joining us and hanging out with us. But you will be hearing a full episode from Ray very, very soon. We are recording it this week. So stay tuned for that. But until they hear that episode, Ray, where can they keep up with you? Where can they find you?
Oh gosh, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram as Raise Reptiles. You can find me on TikTok, Raise Reptiles, Facebook, Raise Reptiles, and YouTube, long and short, Raise Reptiles. I'm actually just gonna start kicking into gear for YouTube long form, so
Let's go.
tuned. Stay tuned.
I love it. And all of those links, everything we talked about today, is going to be in the description. So go check them out. Go give them a follow. Go support them. They're both doing incredible things, and we love them here at the Daffy's Roundtable, Daffy's Reptiles household.
Thank you,
So,
Foddy.
yeah,
We love
there we
you.
go.
Love you.
Oh, thank you guys.
Love
This is
you.
awesome. Yes. Anyway, thank you both very much for popping in. Everyone listening, thank you very much for listening. We will see you on the next episode very soon.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Yay!